Megan, you had a question this week that kind of prompted today's topic, and it was around just what could you expect in the first year? I think the first year, we as we've looked at the coaches when they started their business and grew, and then we looked at ourselves and looked at the financial data around it, and then we've looked at our students and looked at the financial data and just what does that trajectory look like? And so this is going to come from the perspective of, let's assume that you weren't working for a bookkeeper beforehand and you have very minimal to no experience bookkeeping. So actual start to finish bookkeeping, issuing the financials, all of those things. So we're going to take it from that route. And what we saw, year one, we see bookkeepers do all the jumping around. Where do I get the information from? What am I doing? And they're just trying to get their feet under them. It's like they jumped into the pool, whether they had a plan or not. I would say, no, I guess I jumped in with 2 feet too and didn't really have a plan. I had an accounting background, but don't know if I really had a plan. I thought I had a plan. It did not look the same when I came up on a year. And so you're trying to figure out how to swim, right? That's what we see across the board. It's, well, maybe I'll try this marketing and I'll try this marketing and I'll follow this coach and I'll follow this program and I'll follow this person who's talking about building a bookkeeping business. And that makes it really hard to focus. It starts to add too many hands in the pot. I know my first year though, I was following people. I was following people on YouTube. I was following people on Facebook and just searching. I wasn't in any program necessarily, but that did make me like, I definitely did not have blinders on saying, this is what I'm doing. I'm just going to head down and do it and execute. Instead, I was, well, what's working over there? What's working over there? And just kept getting distracted. And in doing so, came across some things were not helpful to my business long term. Year two, we develop a plan. We're like, okay, I'm going to double down on this. This is what's working. You start to develop a plan. But I think if you haven't settled on, okay, I'm just going to follow these people. Year two, we typically see people following too many people. There's still too many hands in the pot. But by this time, they at least have a plan. Year three, it does not have to take you 3 years. So if you hear this and you're like, I don't want to wait 3 years, you don't have to wait 3 years. Year three, we typically see bookkeepers say, I'm committed, I'm all in. And if they haven't already hit 6 figures, they're hitting 6 figures and they're stabilizing their business. So we've also seen bookkeepers hit 6 figures in their first year because they jump all in and they're like, okay, I'm going to swim to the end of the pool. No questions asked. Okay, I think we are ready to bring in our guest. We can spotlight Anna. Anna, are you ready to get started and share about your experience a little bit?
Yes, I'm ready.
Put you on this.
No worries. Hi, everyone. So I'm actually about to turn a year since I launched my business last year. I officially launched in August last year, but I really started working in marketing and getting clients around November. So like October, I think I started marketing, and then November, I think I started working with I started marketing to get my first clients. I signed actually beginning of this year. And it's been a journey of a lot of challenges and a big learning curve. I only had experience working in my family business. I did bookkeeping for several years before starting my own business and had knowledge on keeping books, cleaning books. I learned from scratch. So I basically taught myself everything I knew. And I had an accountant who taught me things here and there. And I basically learned all from scratch. So then in the very beginning of my journey of starting my business, I connected to somebody in LinkedIn who connected me to this program. And I was able to get the training with the course, the blueprint course, the Bookkeepers Blueprint course. And that's where I really honed in on my skills, and I would say learned, like actually got training for what I was doing, because I had done some things and learned some things on my own that weren't really I wasn't sure that they were 100% correct. And I always had my accountant check my work afterwards. So it really helped me build my confidence for working on my own and doing my own work for my own clients. I learned a lot through the course and also getting on calls with coaches because I joined the unlimited program. So I had the accessibility of going on calls and asking questions as needed, from learning to draft engagement letters, which I had no idea how to do at all, to getting on sales calls and getting confidence for that as well, to working on books and cleaning up work for previous years and quoting. They have really helped me in every step of the way. I would I don't think I would be where I'm at if it hadn't been for a strong mentorship program and coaching program I got from CV4S. If I'm being honest, like I said, I only had experience with bookkeeping, and I didn't really know how to run a business in bookkeeping. So they really gave me the tools I needed to run it, and they showed me how it looked like every step of the way with the coaching as well. And for marketing, I did get some help in the program, but I also hired a coach outside of the program. I know that CV4S partners with this, or you guys have brought him on in several lives. So I worked with him and I did I guess, the whole program he offers from beginner marketing. And I also went into his advanced marketing program, and I have been able to sign clients. I haven't hit six figures yet. That was initially my goal for the first year. During the summer, two of my clients paused, and that kind of brought my revenue down. But I'm getting a lot more calls currently, and just people interested in services because tax season is coming up. But yeah, it's been a journey. It's I really enjoyed the work. I'm very passionate about bookkeeping and helping other businesses, and being able to work from home and just make money from an online business. I never imagined I would be doing this, and it's fun seeing how you can just do work from home and just have your money come in every month, and it's stable because you have ongoing income month after month, and I already know what's coming in. And yeah, I don't know if there's any questions, but that has been my journey for my first year.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. One question I wanted to ask you, Anna, what made you decide so you were doing bookkeeping with your family business, so helping them keep track of everything. And you were doing a lot of kind of admin, bookkeeping, tax stuff with your family's business. So you were learning already by a fire hose, jumped in, continued to learn by a fire hose. But what made you, like, after you were doing that, say, maybe I want to have an actual bookkeeping business myself? Like, I want to go in business doing bookkeeping for others.
Yeah, initially, what made me take the leap of faith and jump was I feel like God was just leading me that way. And I just decided to do it. I was scared because I thought, I don't think people, how are people, I guess, imposter syndrome. And I didn't really have the confidence. But what made me jump to or transition into starting my own business was basically a word from God, but also being able to serve others and the community, my community, in a different way, and something I know I'm passionate about, and I can actually serve them as well. Also, as I do want to be a mom one day, and I think it would give me the flexibility to have a schedule for my kids and be able to raise them and things like that.
Most definitely. I wish I would have known and been able to do this whenever I started, when I was your age.
Yeah.
Are you willing to share at all what you're making a month to have a more realistic picture of what you've accomplished this year?
Yeah. So I started the year making close to 5,000 per month. I think it was like 4,800 or something like that monthly. Then in the summer it went down. So now I'm making 3,000, like 3,500 monthly. Grateful to be making this amount of money. I currently have two clients in line who might be signing up, so I might be able to go up to 5,000.
Is that just recurring revenue, Anna? Because I know, like
Yes.
for me, sometimes cleanups that could increase that heavily, depending on the size of the cleanup.
Yeah, that's only ongoing. So I think I have, I think 5 clients who are active, or maybe 4. But one of them, my biggest reoccurring client, is 1,000, almost 600, 1,600 monthly. And
Awesome.
yeah, I do for him bookkeeping, I do payroll, and I do accounts receivable for him. He
And
would
I
be,
know we've spent a lot of time working on your quotes and just getting you really confident. And you, just for the person listening, hearing 5 clients, 3,000 a month, like her clients are very average when we've looked at them in terms of like quoting. She also does a really good job. She quotes on the higher side. So money mindset, she's definitely worked on there in a good way. Like in a good way, like she quotes. If you're looking at like a bookkeeper who's under quoting, she's not over quoting. She's like solidly hitting some really solid quotes out there.
yeah. My minimum is 400. I have been told I'm on the higher side. And I have sent out offers for lower prices, but they haven't been signed. So I guess it's worked out for me. But yeah,
I think 3,005 clients is amazing. And when we've looked at like the trajectory of business owners, because you're also not full time, so you're still working in your family business, right? You're not working 40 hours a week for the 3,000 a month. How many hours are you working right now? Do you know? Guesstimate.
I would say, let me see. It sounds low, maybe like 20.
20 hours a month.
No, a week.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe that might be a little high,
It
honestly.
might be a little high, but you're also doing the ARAP. We
Yeah.
can always look at it if you want.
And you're
So
still marketing, if that's including marketing and all that, Anna, still? Or is that just client work?
Okay. Yeah, I guess including it would be more, if I include the stuff I do for my own business, it would be more accurate. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So I think 3,000 a month is really reasonable, especially in that first 6 months that you're starting. If you've dived in and you're going to swim to the other side of the pool, right? If you're going to play in this shallow end saying, do I want to do this? It's going to be harder. Do you provide info on all the services you provide, books, payroll, AP, AR? Or do you just focus on bookkeeping and offer add-ons later?
I usually, in my initial meeting, I usually ask like the story of the business. I learn more about what they do, and then I ask what areas they're needing help with. So that's when they tell me, like, hey, I'm looking for this. Do you do payroll? Do you do? So I let the client tell me what his needs are, and then I offer if needed. I don't usually offer everything if they don't ask. I'm not sure if that's a good strategy, but I always let the client tell me what their needs are first.
I agree. I think the same applies if you're going to show up on a car lot. You don't want to show them a Lamborghini if they're looking for a minivan.
Yeah.
And I don't know about y'all, but one thing I've noticed is a lot of people have different idea of what, like when they reach out saying they need bookkeeping services, they have different ideas on what that looks like and like what exactly they're looking for. So if you try to just throw everything at them, then they're like, wait, this is not what I need, or it's more, and then you might overwhelm them. So yeah, I think that's huge to what do they need and
Yeah.
focus on them.
Elizabeth says, have you found all of your clients from working with the marketing coach you mentioned? And how many hours a week are you spending on marketing at this point?
I did have some referrals. So initially, one of my clients, my first client was a referral. She was one of my big clients with 3 businesses. She was the one who paused in the summer, but then all the rest have been found online through the coach I mentioned, yes. And then
yeah,
how many hours a week are you spending in marketing at this point? I would say an hour, a good hour per day. Sometimes less. I should be spending at least an hour. I'm trying to work on that more now that the season is, I guess people are looking for more.
that's definitely, yeah. Do you think has it increased or decreased? Like when you first got started, did you feel like you were putting, like how much time do you think you were putting in to get yourself because you reached 4,800, I think by the end of February, if I remember correctly.
So from October to February, essentially. Is that correct? Just so
So
they-
I started like actually earning money in this year because I was signing clients like late December.
Start in January.
They were starting in January. So I was getting close to 5,000. My clients are not local. Actually, all of them are everywhere in the US, which is cool. I like it. I have some in Utah, California, Texas. So currently I don't have any local clients.
So that's proof right there for everybody who's worried about, because I know some people are always concerned about, can you just do this virtually? Do I have to go there? Because sometimes you have people reaching out like, hey, I need you to come in office. Anna is doing this 100% virtually.
Yeah, which I really enjoy because that's one of the main things I wanted to do in my business. Just keep it online.
And that's, y'all, that's important to realize in the beginning to set those boundaries. So even if you end up with some local clients or local people reaching out and stuff, if that's something you wanted, like she knew going in, make sure you set those boundaries for sure.
Yeah. It says when they pause, did you keep a contract to pick back up when they're ready? So that's what actually, since it was my first time experiencing that, the mentors helped me with this. I don't have a contract, but I do have a pause fee that I'm charging them to keep them on because I use Keeper. So I'm passing on the cost of keeping them on the app for just communication. And then when they're ready, I guess I would need to ask you guys again, but
Yeah, so what we recommending just, and this was me and some other like coaches who had also dealt with this. I actually put in a clause about a year ago saying no pausing. It might now say like a minimum fee. Like I think I actually physically have it says pausing your like account, and there's a section, there's a blurb on it. So what we recommended was, because the contract typically, like when I send out engagement letters, it's like for the following year or until the service changes that you want. So unless an engagement letter overrides it, or we're going to continue in this engagement until you end services. But it's mine, say for a year, so that I can increase rates and things like that. Or if there's new terms, I at least have a prompt to send out my new terms. That's the CPA firm side of me in motion. But like typically engagement letters that we see bookkeepers send out are just an engagement letter. We're going to continue this service until you stop. So with Anna, she has an engagement letter sent out to the client. They've signed. They're going to continue services indefinitely until one of them ends the service. This client said, I don't want to end service, I want to pause it. But Anna's saying, oh, hey, but how long am I going to keep you in this set up and ready for us to continue should you pause? So we told her, go ahead and issue a fee to stay on the books. And that makes the client at least buck up to, do you want to cancel or are you really coming back? And so the client said, no, I'm really coming back. And so at the point that Anna takes the client back on, there's going to be a catch up of those other months. And so she's going to get another bulk payment, and then she will resume paying going forward. So really in Anna's case, there will just be a sales receipt. And if nothing changed for the engagement letter, she might not have to reissue an engagement letter. Another question that comes up often is niching. Did you pick an industry? And I happen to know the answer to this, but and then are all of your clients in that industry?
yeah, so I did pick a niche. I specialize in gym and studio owners. So I picked it from the very beginning with the marketing coach I mentioned. And I think it makes marketing easier, but I do have clients who are not part of my niche. Some of my clients were referral, so not some, only that first one with the 3 businesses. That one was a referral, and she's in the dental industry. Then all my other clients are actually in the gym industry, but one of them, which is funny, while I was adding him and contacting him, reaching out, he's actually a gym software client. So he does something related to gyms, but it's actually a software client, and I guess in the software industry. And then I currently contacted or connected with a bookkeeper who is trying to send me referrals. She still hasn't, but she would send me every type of industry. So do I recommend niching? I would say yes. I think it makes marketing easier, and it's just easier to add people, reach out to people, knowing who to add and things like that. But just knowing that one of the things that I've gone to the coaches for is making sure I know how to market myself to other people who are out of the industry and still reach out and still want my services. So that's something that I'm still learning how to do, because a lot of people who come to me who are not in the gym industry, they think I can't serve them because I'm not in their industry. So they always ask me questions that are, I guess I am still learning how to answer.
And I think you're going to run into those questions either way, because if they are in a specific industry and you don't have a niche, they're going to be asking, can you really handle my real estate business? Can you really handle a restaurant? Can you really handle A2X in my Amazon e-commerce business? Like, they want to know that they've got someone who at least has an understanding, so that they're not having to train you. So I think that's going to happen, just for anyone listening, to whether you have a niche or not. Those conversations are going to come up. But at the beginning, you didn't have any experience with gyms and studios. You just picked out of a hat, like, who can I find? And I know we had some conversations around that too, of like, this type of business owner or this one. And I think you tried two at the first, like you pursued two and one kind of had more conversations. And so you dived in.
I initially, yeah, I was considering two, but I ended up just choosing one. And that was hard at the beginning too, because in the beginning, I guess gym owners thought I had all the experience in gyms and I didn't. So I needed to learn to go through those conversations. And I would say even within that niche, the coaches helped me with qualifying factors, just knowing what type of gym owner I want to reach out to. How much revenue are they making? And do I want to reach out to this person who's making this amount of money and he's still a gym owner, but he might not meet my requirements, or he wouldn't be able to pay for my service. So I also had those type of conversations, because even in the same niche, you can find different types of businesses.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and willing to take on the yoga studio or the Pilates studio or the Taekwondo studio. How broad does it go and how focused? I'm gonna plug Pumpkin Plan here for a second. In Pumpkin Plan, the fact that you brought up the gym software owner, partnering with someone like that, because now you have his bookkeeping, but he now services all of these gyms. And so pursuing that partnership to continue to connect to, or like, where is he going? What magazines are, where is he finding his clients? Also helps, where can you find more clients? Because he's just that connector. There's a good story about something similar in the Pumpkin Plan by Mike McCallowitz. Anna, what advice would you give with someone who, we're coming up on October, about the same time you started, and you said you started in August thinking about moving towards bookkeeping, right? So now's the time. What advice would you give to someone in the same season?
So I think one of the things that, and it was more I'm thankful I made the decisions quickly, but one of the things that was in my mind and was stressing me before even starting was I wanted to just I thought that maybe I could do things on my own and get my clients on my own, know how to do this on my own before I got the help, because I thought I didn't want to, I guess I was, when you start any type of business, you're scared to take the jump and actually make the investment with your own either savings or whatever income you're currently making. And that was one of the things that I was a little hesitant about in the beginning. I don't know, you think, what if I don't make the money again? What if I don't? What if I just lose my savings? Should I really put this money and invest it here in the coaching program, in the marketing program? Should I really, like, is it worth it? I would say it is 100% worth it. And I would, and for me, if I were to go back a year ago, I wouldn't have delayed that decision-making process because of my fears of not, of thinking I wasn't gonna make it again or just make the money and get the money back. So I think that's one of my advice. Just why I think when it comes to starting a business, investment is necessary and it is worth it, and it just helps you have a path to follow and gives you the right tools and people who know, who've been there, who are already making a business out of it, who run their own businesses, who are successful. Like we are, it's just the wisest thing, in my opinion, you could do, which back then I knew, but I guess I was letting fear get the best of me at one point, and I'm glad I still made the decision, but it took me some time to actually decide. That would be my advice.
What is the one thing you've disliked about running a bookkeeping business?
I guess not knowing how to answer client questions sometimes. Which it's funny because they don't notice. I feel like I make it bigger in my head, but they don't, they just, and I know they don't notice by the comments they make to me. They're like, wow, you know so much and you're so knowledgeable and this and that. And I'm like, okay. They know how to run their business. And I feel like we get in our heads too much thinking that we don't know or we don't have what it takes when we do, that this is what we know, like bookkeeping, accounting. And yeah, but I guess one of the things I dislike is when they come up, when they just have questions for me that I just feel like, I don't know, when they catch me by surprise and, and
So a little bit to that, like when you started in our community program, so like the mid-tier one, I think within 2 weeks you messaged me saying, hey, I want to move up. And that was so that you had the Voxer access to me and Megan and Allie. So we answer messages like voice messages, things like that. And then you got unlimited one-to-one. So meetings with me, meetings with the coaches, meeting with Allie on marketing, email, whatever you use that for, things like that, like all the coaches. And you can do one a day. So there's when a client asks you a question, and then we have the squad group, like all of those things, you can put the question out there and get a response in a reasonable enough time to answer the question to the client without the client thinking that you're going to spend a month researching this topic.
yeah. No, that has been really helpful for sure. I've been on calls with clients and I've messaged you guys on the side, like just to answer their questions. And sometimes you just tell them you have to circle back, but I think God has given me grace. So it's helped with just knowing an answer on the spot a lot of times.
Anna, thank you so much for jumping on and sharing your story and just your experience. I think it's super encouraging to hear from other students, or really other business owners, not a student, like you're doing it. We really value that. I appreciate your time today.